What is up, y'all? It is your boy Kirk here, aka Vandal. Got two cameras now. Boom, boom, boom. I love that. It's so freaking cool. Anyway, so this camera looks so good. This second camera right here, this camera looks so good. I'm so pumped about it. But anyway, so let's jump into this. If you guys are new here to this channel, we're actually walking through my track with Bailey Joe called Follow Through. And last week, if you haven't seen it, just check out the other video. But if you haven't heard the song already, check it out below. And let's get into it. I'm gonna stop talking now. Peace. What is up, y'all? It is your boy Kirk here, aka Vandal, and we are in here in the studio, and on this channel we do tips, tricks, tutorials, all that stuff to help you become a better producer in today's marketplace. We're talking through Follow Through with Bailey Joe. She's an incredible songwriter, singer, and her stuff is linked below. If you want to follow her, do that. I highly suggest it. Anyway, so last week we talked about the guitars. We're not going to talk about the guitars this week. We're going to talk about the bass and the keys, and that is what we're going to talk about in this track. Now, let's jump into it. I'm going to stop talking. Okay, so we're in the track now, and we see what we've got going on. We've got bass, guitar, keys, effects, and vocals. So everything in green is vocals, and then all the effects are yellow, and the keys are blue, and the bass is purple. So super simple. I'm not going to spend too much time on the bass because honestly, all I did was plug in this guy over here. And honestly, this is such a great bass. It's a stiletto Schecter. My first really nice bass that I bought. I love this thing. And it's really cool. It's a really, really fat sounding bass. It's got these massive pickups in it and really awesome tone control as well. And it's an active bass, so there's a lot more like punch to them than a, what is it, inactive bass? I don't know. But it's an active bass, so you got to put batteries in it, and it's actually really, really fat, really, really good sound. I'll show you what I usually do to my basses after I record them, and I'll show you the before and after. I've kind of strayed away a little bit from using synths, and I'm going to go back to making like some synth heavy stuff, but these days I'm kind of really leaning towards just recording all my own parts with the instruments that I have, vocals, bass, guitar, and then adding in the layers of keys and stuff like that I need otherwise. So bass and drums are the foundations of your tracks. You really want to make sure that those are solid and that those have power behind them, that they're holding down the low end, and they're really working well together. Luckily for this track, I did not need any drums really. I didn't actually add any drums, and that was on purpose. But let's jump into this bass. Okay, so this purple right here is the bass. Look at the signal, pretty decent. We recorded it through my Apollo. I have a bass pedal board as well, but I didn't use it on this. I just used the Apollo, and I just recorded it. This is what the raw signal coming in sounds like. Let's listen to it. It's got that dynamic sound in it because I'm playing the high notes, and then I drop to the low B just to get that big fat kind of low end. But as you can see and hear, it's actually not that fat. So what I do to make my stuff fatter, especially if you're using Logic Pro, the Logic amps are actually really solid. So I use these right here. I use this guy right here, and this is my absolute favorite setting, the deep setting, and I tweak around with it sometimes just to get some low end, some stuff there, and mess around with it a little bit, but usually I keep it pretty much the same as the stock one. So let's listen to what it sounds like without it and then with it. I'm gonna pop it on right now. So what I love about this plugin is that it is honestly, it brings in such great character, and especially this preset on this plugin makes your basses ridiculously fat. And so because this song doesn't have any drums, it's super important for this to have a ton of low end and really hold it down. There are drums in there. They're more like kind of just to give you a beat and stuff to kind of follow to. But otherwise, it's really just a bass. And this is what is holding down that bottom end. This bass is holding down the bottom end, and it's super important. So this is just adding some more compression to it, just to give it a little bit more presence in the mix because there are no drums. Yeah, so that's the bass for this track, and that's really it. That's really what's going on here. And let's jump to the keys. All right, so keys. Everything in blue here is keys. So let's listen to this. Honestly, it's really not rocket science for the keys, and what it really does is really just kind of supports the guitar part and the bass there, just with another timbre, another like sound that kind of fills in the gaps that aren't, you know, really filled in by the voice or by the bass or by the guitars. And I always loved the sound of like a delicately played piano. That could just be me, but I love that sound. I want to hear the instrumental without any of the keys, so you guys can kind of get an idea. I'm going to mute the vocals too because we're not going to talk about those yet. Mute the vocals and we'll just listen to what it sounds like with just the bass and guitar and the effects in here in this section. Now let's put the keys in. So it just gives you something to kind of ground that. Because everything, there's just a big gap in the middle there because the guitars are kind of high, the bass is really low, and there just needed to be something to fill in that middle part. Incredible. So that's really honestly the simplest thing. The bass and the keys and the way they sit together in the mix and the way that they work together and what they're actually doing for the mix, it's super important. And as you can see, it's not that complicated. I've only got 2 keys tracks. And I've only got 1 bass track, and I did my best to make that sound really good. Now, it's totally up to the listener if they think it sounds good, if it's a good track. I love it, Bailey loves it, so I'm kind of happy there. And if you guys really dig it, then that's dope. So hey, if you guys are really interested in like just continually growing and getting better, I found in my own journey that it's super important to have someone in your corner, and it's super important to have someone you can lean on creatively to help you become a better producer, creative just in general. So I actually do these coaching calls that you guys can jump on. You can schedule it down below. And also I have a masterclass that I've been working on for the past year that I think could really help someone that wants to be a music producer, and it can help you with some really cool stuff in there. So if you guys want to become better producers, check out that link and just jump in and learn and grow. And you get access to me, and you get added to a Facebook group as well. So it's really cool, and I'm super pumped. If you guys do it, it'd be great. I think it's gonna be super beneficial to you. Shout out to you guys for getting it this far into this video. I'm so pumped that you guys were watching. And the next video, we're going to talk about the vocals. We'll break them down. There's a lot of layers of vocals here. My own vocals, Bailey's vocals, and we're going to talk about the effects, because the effects are kind of really just not too crazy, so we're not going to spend too much time on that. But the next video, we're going to talk about those vocals and how I processed them and how I worked with Bailey's vocals. Catch you in the next video.